Hello, winners, and welcome to the Wrong Button Podcast, the show where we talk all things nerd, most things video games, and generally anything that tickles our fancy. I'm Mrs. Play.
Hello, spouse.
Welcome to your first live podcast.
It is my first live podcast. I'm so glad I got my hair cut earlier today, and I feel pretty.
I'm glad. How are you feeling?
Pretty.
Well, aside from that, because we're doing our PAX Unplugged recap cast about
I wasn't
2 weeks
there.
later. Yeah,
I wasn't there. I had a sinus infection and was starting to feel better, but I didn't want to be like patient zero at a convention center. I didn't have a voice. I would not have been a good time to be around.
Yes,
I was coughing. Like it was not the vibe we're going for.
it was.
So I stayed home and decorated our main level for Christmas.
Yeah, after getting my blessing of like, can you do? Yes, you can.
Can I go into the room where Christmas is stored, or will I ruin my Christmas?
No, I'll ruin that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, you'll just leave a receipt somewhere.
I'll leave a receipt somewhere.
So that's how I passed my time. But you, Mr. Play, went to PAX Unplugged. Tell us all about it. Where did you go? What did they say? What did they tell you? What did you see?
So yes,
What did you eat?
I had a lot of tasty food. So yes, we went to PAX Unplugged.
Who's we?
I am not the board game aficionado. It is something that I have started dabbling in here and there. So we took fantastic friends of the channel, Kat and Eli, who are fantastic. I actually meant to send them a message.
They're lovely people, and they're both super into tabletop games.
Yeah, they are. Go ahead.
And so many months ago, Mr. Play was like, we have friends who like tabletop games, and Mrs. Play, you also are starting to come around to the tabletop game. What if we spent several days together in Philadelphia at a hotel in a convention hall playing games together? And everyone said yes, most excitedly.
Yes. Sorry, I realized that I forgot to text them.
You're relying me to carry the conversation.
I was like,
yeah. That story was way too short.
Yeah,
Please keep talking.
Oh, come on.
Again, I was sick, so I wasn't there. But we organized transportation via the Amtrak. Chris met with them up in D.C.
Yeah, northern D.C.
In the northern D.C. And then it was like barely an additional 2 hours, if even.
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
It was about 2.5 hours.
Up to Philly.
So took the train in, which is something that people do for.
Was the train packed? Could you tell that there were other tabletop gamers on the train?
I guess we could start with that. So we live really close to an Amtrak station where we live outside DC, and we were like, okay, hey, if we take this, I don't have to drive, find a place to park up in Philly,
pay for gas, deal with traffic.
So I was like, okay, we'll just
pay for the parking.
That's like an extra $25 a day, and that's with like all my statuses.
Yeah. I'm like, it's just all around better to take the train.
So yeah, I was like, okay, we'll take the train, and had a great time on the train. Got on the train right up from where we live, and starting from there, we got there, and there were like 4, maybe 5
other people on the platform
that got on the platform us.
They were giving gamer vibe. Like when you're rocking the neon blue hair and you're wearing pajama bottoms with like a 20-sided die, and I'm like, I see you. I know you.
giving gamer vibes.
I'm just like, I'm not saying I can pick you out of a crowd, but.
It was actually a funny joke that was made at PAX. I was walking by a booth, and they're like, yeah, indistinct white male, dark hair with a black shirt. Okay.
I'm telling you, I would lose you if we ever got to. Like, can you describe what he looks like? Early 30s, brown hair, tattoos. Fit, white guy.
I'm a 1 on the BioWare selection screen.
Yeah.
I'm the most generic.
I would never find. Well, you have gauged ears now. That's your defining
I
feature.
I do, and they're actually a little bit bigger now. So yeah, gauged ears.
So you identified other gaming individuals on the train.
So I was like, hey, are you guys going to PAX Unplugged? And they're like, yes. How could you tell? I was like, just
from the everything about
just
you.
Just a hunch.
Yes.
Yeah. So rode up with them. Got on the train. Train was a nice, peaceful ride.
Lovely.
got to the north side of DC. So we live on the south side. We got to the north side of DC to pick up our friends, or for me to pick up the
You got out on the platform too. Like you didn't pick them up. The train stopped.
the train. You know what?
Let's just be honest.
So the train stopped. I was down there jamming to some music. You know, doing my air guitar thing.
I asked for proof of life pick when they all got together.
Yes.
Look like you're having fun, so I can live vicariously through you.
So yep. So we went ahead and did that. And quick update in bookkeeping, real quick, before I go full on into it. Those of you who are watching this live, thank you for listening to our dulcet tones and joining us here on our second live podcast here. Those of you who are listening, thank you for enjoying our dulcet tones. Thank you for being here.
I never describe my tones as dulcet.
And
Go on.
those of you who are going to watch this hopefully in the future, starting Saturday, you'll notice the video is going to be a little bit different because you will get all the pictures and the games that we played when I'm sitting here describing them and talking about them, at least all the ones that I have. I'm pretty sure I still have a fair amount of them, and if I don't, well, I will reach out to the other reporters who are with me. Yes.
No, I'm just playing footsie with you.
Oh, okay. This is so we
Like,
have a high top table.
Acknowledge me. That's all that's happening.
This is the most wife thing that I think you've ever done. Is just being
That's because
like,
we're facing each other. We normally don't.
yeah, typically we're like,
We're
so.
like sitting beside.
But yeah, so we've got yeah. But welcome, guys. Welcome to our full thing. The neon signs here. It's a little blown out. I'll play with
Light settings.
And how we do that if there's a way. That's not gonna do it. Yeah. I'll play with light settings. Oh, actually, that worked very well. There's a delay on the stream.
So you have arrived in Philadelphia.
So we got to Philadelphia. I did about an hour and a half worth of work because, of course, I did.
Yeah, you're terrible about it.
I'm very terrible
like,
about
how was it? He's like, it was fine. I was answering work calls. I'm like, you're dumb. I love you. You're supposed to be on leave.
Yeah.
I told them I'd answer calls until I got to Philly. And I'm like, no. It's like, I'm not answering calls until I'm on my way to the fucking train station. Are we allowed to curse? Until I get to the train station.
How long are we into this? Oh yeah, you're good. We're after 5 minutes. YouTube starts to suppress it, so there goes our PG-13 rating, or there is our PG-13 rating.
Okay,
so got to Philadelphia, went, checked into our hotel. Turns out that the hotel I booked us at was like the...
That was the spot.
It was the like, these are the exhibitors spot.
Oh.
So like, there were people who I was playing games with, and I'm at the hotel, like riding in the lobby, like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, "Hey, how you doing?" After the first day, like, cause we'd stop and we'd play games and stuff like that. So it was just really cool there. Had breakfast.
I know you. I played your game.
Oh, it was I did not do that. Like, I have such a fear of doing something like that. I go some.
Talk about that fear for a moment. Give me like.
Talk about that fear for a
moment?
moment?
Like what's with that?
So, like.
You don't want to fangirl to the game developers?
If I'm gonna fangirl, it's gonna be Johnny Young Bosch, and I am gonna sound like a 14-year-old girl.
Focus on the task.
So it's not that I don't want to fangirl. It's that because of the nature of the podcast and the channel and wanting to be taken seriously in that space, I don't ever want to come across as like, oh my god, like I love your game, and like no, I want to be treated as like, no, if I'm gonna do press, I'm gonna cover this. I want to be.
I purely meant it from just like a following the dopamine gushing standpoint, not like, hey, we're both in the same hotel. Can you talk to me about your game? I wasn't trying to like suggest that you interview them. I was
I wasn't even. But like to me, like it'd be like one of those things like you saw me in the con, I'd be off put by that. If it was like, oh hey, and I'd be like, yeah, dude, we need some space, man. I'm in the hotel. I'm not in con. I'm
not in work mode. Leave me alone. Okay. Okay, that was helpful. Thank you for explaining.
Yeah, so things that,
so you're at the hotel with the vendors.
So we were at the hotel with the vendors. It was fantastic. Stayed at Marriott. They took fantastic care of us. I have my
It's your second fantastic.
Okay.
I'm going to start counting. I'm going to work on your adjectives. Keep going.
Okay, so day one, we go to PAX Unplugged.
Day one, hour one.
Day one, hour one, we go to PAX Unplugged.
How was the line getting in? What day? What day did you go?
So we went Friday, Saturday.
Left on Sunday.
I think we were there for 2 days, yeah.
Okay.
And Friday, it was a great day to go. For those of you guys who haven't gone to PAX cons, typically, like, your best days to be there are, like,
Not the weekend.
The first day and the last day.
Oh, okay.
Because the first day is typically a weekday, and that's like
Less crowds.
Yeah, you're gonna get in. We're gonna get all of our gaming done.
Mhm.
That's when I'm typically like, hey, buy stuff now. Like, don't try to do it on Saturday. Those lines are gonna be through.
If you see something, go get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
go grab it. And then Sunday is also a really good day because sometimes they'll cut you some really nice deals.
Yeah, they're just trying to offload the product so they don't have to bring it back again.
Yeah, I almost like came home with a crap ton of Warhammer figurines.
Okay.
But so first day we get there, and I like to look for games that I'm generally going to enjoy. For me first. So we walk in. I sold Kat and Eli on being there because
Is tabletop?
Well, because tabletop and because Alex Mercer was going to be there, and he is who I constantly was referring to as Dream Daddy that Eli and I were going to like stalk,
Right?
Because he's absolutely gorgeous, and
just objectifying people online.
I'm objectifying. Yeah, I will objectify Alex. He's a fantastic and beautiful individual. Anyway, so he does Critical Role, and was what made Critical Role.
What it is today.
What
we know and love it as today.
Yes, or he also brought Dungeons and Dragons more mainstream, so that way other people would play it.
Okay, so kind of a big deal. Not a big deal, but kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. Also, was like the voice actor for Ganon in the latest Legend of Zelda game. So as Ganon got more hydrated, people say everyone else got thirsty for him. And
that felt gross just to hear. Okay, go on.
Sorry, correction. Matt Mercer, not Alex Mercer. Thank you.
Know anything? Who's correcting you?
D&D Daddy is Alex.
I'm glad people are listening to correct you in real time.
That's either Kat or...
Thank you, listeners.
Love you, and your tones are very dulcet. Thank you. I'm pretty sure that's Kat. But Matt Mercer, my mistake.
How dare you?
We'll have fun with that in post. So they went to go try to get in because at PAX's they will do a...
panels?
No, not just panels, but it's like their keynote speech.
Okay.
So they could not get into his keynote speech. His keynote speech was packed like an hour before.
All right.
And that was getting to standing room. So they sat out.
Standing out in the hallway?
They stood out and watched the keynote in the hallway.
Okay.
And the keynote, for those of you, I'll try to link to it. It was a very touching keynote. It was a lot of fun. It was very Critical Role and a bunch of friends setting up their best friend to it was pretty funny. They do a good job with him. They sat there and watched that, and they left me at Battletech.
Unsupervised.
What's
Battletech?
So Battletech is the tabletop version and the universe, because everything's an expanded universe, for MechWarrior. You've seen me check out their stuff when we've been at Barnes & Noble. But like Battletech, like they have the latest thing there. And so it is a figurine game where you can paint your figures and then go around and do the thing. And so they left me there, and I was playing Battletech, which was my first day. I was there for about an hour and a half. And they did what is known as a grinder. A grinder for everyone else is a deathmatch, where
dun, dun, dun.
Anytime you die, for those of you that played gun game in Call of Duty, you would typically die and go back a weapon. But in this game, if you died, you got a better mech. So you would start off with like a version 1, which was a light, quick, you don't have a lot of health and stuff. Then you go to version 2, and you'd get up until you had a super mech. And I sat there and played it because it was one of those games I was like, I'm really interested in this. This could be something I get into because we actually have a Battletech writer that lives in our local area.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. And I'm a bit of a sucker for some mechs. I don't know if you know this about me.
If only we'd turn the camera and see all the Gundam
just see all the
things.
Gundams on the wall.
Like the Gundam art, all the mini figures. Yeah, no Gundams over here though.
No, this is all decked out right now for what we're doing. So
okay.
So I played that, and it just didn't really click with me.
Okay.
Playing it when you got into it, I could see how it could be a lot of fun, especially like after like 3 or 4 games. However, that being said, it was also along the lines of people would keep jumping in, so then you would keep getting like bumped down. So like you would do you would do a move
Mm-hmm.
and then be like, okay, now wait 15 minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so it wasn't like the
Nah.
most fun way to like.
If you had like a set group of people,
Yeah.
a fixed number, it would have been.
And because people would like jump in, jump out, people would come in and be like, hey, have you gone? Yeah, I went like 5 minutes ago. And they're like, I haven't gone yet. And like, well, you're jumping into the next turn.
Yeah.
And so it just.
Okay.
It could have been that it wasn't just like a friendly experience, this, that, the other. Mechs were really cool. The guy was really into it because like we were like just talking a little bit of mecha and stuff like that. But he was really cool. And just in the end, like learned that it wasn't so much for me. Next. So next we went to Bites, and I'm trying
Bites.
Bites.
Was Bites food or was Bites another game?
Bites is another game.
Okay.
So there were wooden platforms that were set up in like 2 different areas there, which were a lot of like
stage platforms or like moving pallet platforms. What are we talking about?
So they were like, let's say like 4x4 squares that were up like a high top bar table.
Okay.
Felt.
Yeah.
And then they had like a game set up in them that you could play, and they were
fun.
a couple different ones there. And I got a few that like I can have us go through because they were. They were Oink Game, or no, Oink Games was the other one. I'll look them up towards the end here because they were absolutely it was a lot of fun. So we played one game called Bites, where it's a game based on speculation. So Kat really likes
strategy.
Kat really likes her math and her logic puzzles. So she was actually quite good at Bites. Basically, the way the game plays is you are ants and you are following like a made path of food back to your ant hill. However, you don't actually play as a specific ant. So there are 4 ants of 4 different colors, and then you learn that there are 4 different colored foods. And then 2 bonus foods. So you'll have like a red ant, apple, tan ant, bread.
Sure.
And like 2 other colors.
Yeah,
and then you have like
green sleeves.
Yeah, green.
Sure.
And then so you get to the final part, and then you have chocolate, and you have like maple syrup or sap flavors in that.
I'll take the syrup.
Yeah,
I don't want
simple syrup.
Sure.
And so what happens is you'll set up the board however that you want it to be there. You'll randomize it and lay it down. And then you'll flip 2 cards, and one card will be like, this is the criteria for like how we're going to score. And the other one will be the criteria of like, hey, these could be possible penalties or like some sort of variable to the game. The ant whose color that you pick can only go on the same colored food. And then you can pull one front or back. So red ant can only go on the apple. You can't pick up the apple because you're on it, but you can pick up the piece in front or the piece behind. And then it'll be like, oh, if you pick up a sap, you get to pick up the next one in front of it. And so after that, like you don't want to just rush that red ant to the end because you could, based on the way the board's laid out, you could like kind of like shoot yourself in the foot and not get the most points. So you want to kind of try to figure out how you can move an ant that collects the most for you. That way you can be like, yes, this ant is now first, triple points, plus based on the little variables that I have, he's like, now I have the most points based on that. It was fun. It was interesting because other people jumped in with us, and it was a really cool speculation game. Pretty sure Kat
cheated.
Wow, they are watching.
I know.
Shh.
I'm gonna start shit. Stirring the pot.
We'll get to that later.
Love you, Kat.
No, she is very, very, very good at.
She's pretty smart. We keep her around.
Yeah, she was fantastic, and she crushed it. Like
Of course she did.
I'm pretty sure that like one other person might have tied with her that figured it out, but like Kat knows her some speculation games. Turns out she's a huge fan of what are known as trick games. I know that you didn't play a lot of games like growing up.
Nope.
You went to college. You ever played Spades, Hearts?
Oh, like card game? No.
Oh, okay.
No, I never learned, and then I was too embarrassed when friends, you're not listening to me,
I am.
friends would play around me, and I didn't know how to play, and since I was too embarrassed to participate, I let my fear stop me.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Kat says my honor, by the way. So for those of you guys who don't know, offering me their live corrections are fantastic friends with Kat.
My honor, Kat.
Kat and Eli. So thank you guys for
She's so sweet.
for joining us here and hanging out in the chat. If you follow, you can also just shoot me messages in the chat and I can read in real time. But anywho, doesn't matter. So the other game that we played was Cat in a Box.
Cat in a Box, like Schrodinger's cat.
It's exactly what the
Cat,
game is based
Schrodinger.
off of.
Okay, got it.
It's exactly what the game is based off of.
All right.
If we and both Kat and I looked at it, because if you bought the special edition, it was $50,
Mm-hmm.
but you got a box and a stuffed cat in it.
I mean, I have real cats and real boxes here, courtesy of Amazon and Christmas.
But
and
this was
a real cat.
But this was a stuffed Jaden.
Was it a stuffed cat? Was it soft?
We didn't touch it.
You didn't get to touch it.
No, we didn't. We did not touch it.
Okay.
Because then we'd been like, "Oh, this is a soft cat," and we'd be like, "Why did you come home with it? Why? Why do you have 6 stuffed animals on this bed, spouse?" We have a whale shark. We have a Cyndaquil.
And 4 real cats, and now a stuffed one.
Yeah,
All
now
right.
stuffed one. This is
Okay.
like I already don't have enough space. Yeah. So they were Cat in a Box, which was it almost plays like Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire point of the end of it is like you don't want to create a paradox.
I love. Okay, go ahead.
So what'll happen is
I want to create a paradox.
you can like lie and omit things in order
Sure.
to like play different, win a hand.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get caught at the end where it's like you have a card left and they find out it's one of the cards that you could have played, well now you've created a paradox.
Dun dun dun.
And
then do you lose?
You lose a point.
Uh-oh.
Now the game
You broke
also,
the laws of physics.
Yeah. Or is Schrodinger's cat a physics thing?
No.
Oh,
it's just
okay.
a logic puzzle.
Okay. Cat loves her some logic puzzles. We'll also get into that one here in a minute too. So that was that one was a ton of fun, and Cat was very good at it. Like the game has a twofold win system, right? You can win a hand,
Mm-hmm.
but in order to win a game, you have to bet on how many hands you'll win.
Okay.
So if you're playing 4 rounds, well, how many of those rounds do you think you're going to win? So if you bet 1
Mm-hmm.
and you win 4, you've lost because you said you would only win 1.
Okay.
And so it gives itself that kind of like,
Mhm.
do you lose intentionally? And it gives itself an element of randomness. And we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with that game as well. We played in like playing 2 rounds with the guy who was teaching us. He was fantastic. He had a lot of fun explaining it. Kat, of course, is like Kat being in the Navy has played spades and hearts and dominoes.
Yeah.
Me being in the Army has played spades,
Mhm.
hearts, and dominoes.
Mm-hmm.
So it had been a while, but it comes back to you rather quickly. That one we had a lot of fun with. I think we just at the end like didn't end up getting it for whatever reason. Then what we did here is we played another game called Roll to the Top.
Okay.
Which is it's another like logic game that involves 4 or 5 dice of varying like you know how they have like 6-sided dice, 7-sided dice like going up. So you have like 4 of those die, and then you have another die that's like add a die, subtract a die, add it and subtract a die. And what you have to do is you would roll the dice and you would have a placard that would have like the Arc de Triomphe or the Eiffel Tower, and it would have squares on the bottom. And what you had to do was you had to like, oh, did you get ones? You want to have lower numbers on the bottom because the next row above it has to be able to go above that first row of numbers. And I think I have a picture of this one. I'll post it in here for you guys. And it was one of those things like we got like a little ways through it, and you could like, oh, don't, I'm not going to use all the die this time. So then you're like doing like, well, there's only 1s and 2s, and like the 20 side rolls a 16. I'm not going to use a 16 because I have to like add 2 die to the next one, and it can stack up easily till it's almost impossible for you to keep advancing because you have to roll so many higher numbers. We got a little bit into that one. I think at the end we were kind of like, that's just not for us. It was just it was one of those like games that we just did not end up going back to. And then now and so we're all still like here on like the first day. And then I guess the next game. And
what time of day was it at this point?
So the first day for us, we, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, you're in the chat. We got there at like 10 o'clock and got in really quick. And the keynote was at like 11. And so it was like 1, 2 o'clock when we're doing this. And because it had to be like 1, 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Because the first day, like, we broke for lunch at 4.
Yeah, that wasn't lunch. You're like, we're just now getting food. I'm like, y'all, that's almost dinner time.
It was.
That's late.
It was practically dinner time. And then we went back and played just a little bit more there. Hey, thank you so much for the Prime subscription. Thank you so much for that, Mitra. I really appreciate that. Really, really appreciate the Prime subscription here. Could use
Shout
that on
out
anyone.
to Mitra.
Yeah, could use that on anyone. Use that for us. So yeah, we went ahead and did that one here. And next, I'm gonna talk about the game that almost caused the rift between Kat and I. And this game is called Fiction. Fiction is a board game version of Wordle that also uses literary contrivances to make the game for you. So you choose a 5-letter word from a passage of a book, and it has all the classes. Like, it has A Christmas Carol, it has Alice in Wonderland, Moby Dick, little, like, okay, you get it? And what happens is, like, the person reads that little passage and goes, okay, here's a 5-letter word, I've chosen the word, now go ahead and guess. But the person who's in control of the word is what's known as a librarian, meaning on each one of your guesses, they are allowed to lie to you about any one point on that guess. So, playing Wordle, I would typically go like audio. Audio is always my first word because it gets out all the vowels. Pro strats for anyone else still playing Wordle. If you're not, still fun game. But because he can lie to you, he can be like, okay, and I think our word was twine, right? So then it becomes, well, okay, well, English language. He like tells us that, like, oh, the A is good, and the I is good. Everything else is wrong. Like, those are the correct things that are in the wrong spot. He gives you the same markers like Wordle. But we don't know which one of those he's lying to us about. So then you go down to the next one, he changes it up, and now it's just the I is good, and you guess the A, and the A is now being told wrong. And
that which means the E was good.
And yeah, and it was well, no,
confounding.
We didn't know. So we're getting down it, and you have 5 guesses, and you get another 5 guesses if you don't get it. Apparently, with a blue check mark, you can, which is like, hey, the letter is correct in the correct spot. So just like it is with Wordle, you can, like, that's supposed to kind of be there. But we couldn't. He doesn't like to give out blue check marks because then it's like, oh, well, you have an easier time to guess it. And at the end of it, it became incredibly frustrating because it was like, okay, I'm playing this like Wordle, Kat's playing it like a logic puzzle, she's figuring it out, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense because you can turn around at any time and be like, no, I was lying to you. I was lying to you about
like 3 turns ago.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one of those. That was one of those things. That was just really frustrating, and we didn't get it. It ended up being Twine, and we walked away from that. And it was just one of those. I'm frustrated trying to like think of how to explain that.
Not a good fit for you then.
No, it was not a good. And I think if Kat and I would have tried it separately, we might have had more luck. She's got a far better range as far as she has a far better range going into it when it comes to figuring out logic puzzles that I don't necessarily have, and I was looking at it like it's a word puzzle. So it's just very different things. And then at the end of that, we got lunch, we walked over to the covered market. You did a ton of research for us of like, hey, great places to go eat.
When I was supposed to go, my job was to find food places for us. So I gave Mr. Play my list of places to go dine and try, and like, make sure you go visit this place for me while you're there. Take pictures.
And so we ended up going ahead and doing that one here for us, and it just turned out to be like, I'm sorry, we went ahead and went to food. So we ended up going to a Cajun place. Had fantastic food. I think I had the jambalaya.
Yummy.
Kat and Eli had like fried catfish sandwich po' boys.
Yummy.
I watched the guy across the way get the muffaletta and immediately regretted my decision. My food was very good.
You're like, a muffaletta.
But the muffaletta was, and the guy was like, no, it was really good. But they did like Cafe du Monde coffee. We could have gotten beignets. Like they had the whole nine. Going back,
the covered market was like right next to the convention center. Did you have to leave the convention center, walk down the side in order to get in the covered market, or was it?
There were like 3 entrances.
Okay, good.
Like if we did, it was like one down and in. Like it wasn't very.
I wasn't sure if you would have to like go back out to the main entrance and then back around, or if there were like other little side. You can leave from this side. I wasn't sure what the ingress egress situation was at the convention center, so I'm glad that you didn't have to like backtrack for fucking ever.
So, thank you so much, Kat. It was so. It was a bit of a maze inside the convention center. So the convention center in Philadelphia is split up into 2 parts. There was like the main area with all the main atriums and stuff over here, and then they had another set over here. There was a sky bridge you could walk across that could connect the two. It was on the further side. Like on the first day, it was very easy to navigate. On the second day, and we'll get into that because
it was packed.
Will call was some like scary, like next level. When are you actually going to get into the building shit? It was that packed. So we went over there, grabbed that, came back, and Kat and Eli found a fantastic game that they absolutely adored called Crokinhole, which is like, it has a weird name. Is like a shuffleboard meets like bumper pool, but it's like all set up on a table. So there's a hole in the center with like 6 pegs going around, and I'll post the is Canadian, so that's why it's got a weird name. Has like 6 pegs going around it. And what you want to do is you want to try to have your shuffle piece be as close to the center as possible, but then it gets to the point, well, if the opponent has the enemy, there's no friendship in a board game.
The adversary,
the rival.
Damn.
Duel. If they have another piece that is on the board, in order to have your piece stay on the board, you have to hit their piece. So the good like mix there from the beginning is.
Isn't that what curling is? I feel like this is very similar to curling.
Curling, it's exactly so. That's what shuffleboard's like.
Okay.
But the difference there is, one, it's a straight line. This is a circle. You're like facing each other.
All right.
Almost like air hockey.
Okay.
But in curling, you don't have to touch
the opponent's
piece in curling.
Right. Whatever those. I don't know what anything's called.
They're not
matter.
pucks.
Don't focus.
They're stones.
Focus.
And So what ended up happening was you had like the first person who goes has to get their piece to be in that center ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, what I have to try to do is get my piece to touch your piece in that center ring. But what ends up happening is like you bounce it off fucking
Pegs.
pit, all the
Yeah,
all like more than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot more than you would think.
Maybe you're just bad at aiming.
Well, then we're all bad at aiming.
Okay.
All three of us
I'll
were.
try it.
This is not going to be like axe throwing. This is how people don't want to play games with you.
I was really good at axe
You were
throwing.
really good at axe throwing. You were.
I was surprised.
We were all a little surprised by that one.
Like, I'm dangerous.
It was, yeah. So
the peg game.
So we were playing that, and Kat, they played it for at least 2 hours.
They had a great
They
time.
probably played it for at least 3.5 hours throughout the entirety of it. They played it for at least an hour and a half the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was some time spent at that game while I was like wandering around, and then being like, "Come, I need you for a game to like." Why I brought you here? Like, and doing things like that.
Like, you have to go fulfill your friendship duties.
Yeah, I need you. Like, I need your input on
Come
things.
Hither. Come hither.
So there is a. You don't need to be sorry. I am glad you guys had a great time. That's all that matters. I'm talking to the chat because it is live. Cat's in the chat talking.
Hi, Cat.
And there is a video. They sent me a fantastic video. I'll try to make sure that gets uploaded as I'm disgusting.
Haha, that
disgusting.
was a Freudian slip.
This one, Cat says hi, beautiful.
That was me. I'm disgusting.
After this, on the first day, we also did free play,
Okay.
which is you've seen that at PAX East, where like,
Yeah.
go over here, check out a board game.
Mhm.
So on the free day, we played Azul, which is a game that you can see right there beside me, which is a fantastic tile game that I enjoyed so much that I brought home. It has like 2 other variations and 2 expansions. We played it for the first time after I poorly explained the scoring system.
To myself, Nick and Chardonnay,
To-
or
to-
like
yeah,
Cat
to-
and Eli?
No, Kat and Eli
Oh,
taught me how to play it.
okay,
So
okay.
I knew how to play it well. I just can't
He
explain.
didn't use his words well. And he's trying to explain the point system, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. He's like, I'll count it for you. I'm like, it still doesn't.
Oh.
Like, I believe that you think you're doing it right. I'm telling you, I don't understand.
So it was the point system took me a while to get with them.
But it was pretty, like, the premise was simple, and it is enjoyable. You had a strategy from the get-go, and when I
Yeah.
played it, I'm just like, dopamine.
I mean,
Like, these tiles are pretty, and I'm just like, I'm minding my own business. You're looking at other people's boards, and like, mind your own board, sir.
And so when we were playing it, it was fun watching them knowing how to play it, and I'm just sitting there like doing the same strategy I did, which turned out, and I was able to win those 2 games with Kat and Eli.
Nobody likes someone who brags.
We also
They taught me, but I won.
We also, the first night, we went down to, they had a retro game room, and we played Boggle.
Okay.
Fuck Boggle. Kat, I know you like Boggle. You're very
know
good.
anything about
You're
Boggle.
very
It's
smart. Fuck Boggle.
You're not smart? Is that what you just said?
Oh, God. So,
Not smart enough.
not smart enough.
What's Boggle?
So, Boggle is another word game.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is you have dice with all the different, between all the dice, all the different combinations for, like, letters in the alphabet.
Sure.
And what you do is you shake them up inside this container.
Oh, that
And then
one. Yeah.
You put it over your head so that way they can settle in there, right? It's part of the rules.
Sure.
And then you place it down, and you have an egg timer. So 30, 45 seconds. I don't fucking care.
And you have to like write down as many words given whatever.
And
rules.
like, so it can be like a straight line. It has to be at least 3. It can be like a square. It can like cross, but they can't double back.
Yeah, I can't backtrack. Yeah.
So what I'm telling you that towards the
end, it was a race to second.
No, it wasn't. That was
Wasn't?
No, it wasn't even a race to second. It was, I am not getting this at all. My brain was not working that way. So at one point
you're all funned out. You're like, I've done all the learning I can do.
We're at the last
No
game.
more learning.
And I'm looking at Kat's sheet. And Kat has like a sheet.
Yeah, like 30 fucking words.
And I'm like this. And she's like, I'll read. Kat, stop. Do you see how many words on my sheet? Do you see how many words on Eli's sheet? We'll read ours. Because between the two of us, we didn't have 9 words.
That's really sad. Good job, Kat.
Kat's got
Just remind them who's in charge.
And Kat's got this entire sheet. I'm just like,
Kat the Dominator.
we can't do this. She crushed us by like 40 something points.
Didn't even break a sweat.
It was. And she was going like, yeah, this is boss, this is clear. I'm like, what? How are you?
How did you see it?
Getting all this garbage?
She's having like a beautiful mind moment.
Oh god, it was. She was just like dominating everything that we were doing, and I love her to death. I just, God, fuck Boggle. And then after that, we switched over and we played Clue, the Master Detective Edition,
Dun, dun, dun.
which adds
You said like 2 new rooms.
2 or 3 new rooms. You get a carriage house,
Cool.
the gazebo,
I love a gazebo.
and a
Is there like a sunroom or like an atrium? I feel like there should be,
there was
like,
always an atrium.
like a greenhouse.
There's a greenhouse, and then there
That's nice.
is, and then there was also, it was a greenhouse, and then they also added like a front yard. I'm gonna call it like whatever a fancy space for a front yard would be. A fountain. Thank you very much.
A fountain is a structure spouse.
It's in the front yard. They might have just been called fountain. It doesn't.
Okay. It doesn't matter.
And courtyard too. I was right. They added fountain, courtyard.
Look, I
and
wasn't
then
there.
carriage
I'm just
house.
watching you struggle over here.
If somebody wasn't sick, we would have done this some more.
I was.
You were
sick.
very sick. I'm very
Yeah,
sorry. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Like I did not belong around people. I would have been disgusting.
So we ended up playing that. They also give you like 3 extra characters. Like there's a police
Are
officer.
there new weapons?
I think there was a new weapon, a new weapon or 2. Like there was poison,
Cool.
and something else.
Were his lips blue?
The other great thing was that the on the board itself there were little magnifying glasses that if you passed over that glass, you could take a peek at somebody else's hand to kind of gain and like do this. So at one point, I just sat there and started rolling, and I was like, boop 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 boop, cross 2, look, boop 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 boop, cross the same 2. And I would just walk back and forth to see how much I would get.
Such a dick.
Now, granted, I drew the same card like 6 times from both of them, and I was like, I don't like. Okay, I get it. It's not at the fountain. I know that. I know it's not the revolver. I know it's not the fountain. What the fuck else do we have?
That's what you get for trying to game the system. Sometimes you get gamed, spouse.
So yeah, that was that one was absolutely a great time that we sat there and ended up going through. And we played that, and I think after that it was like I knew I was tired. We were already sitting like 7 o'clock at night, and we went back to the hotel. And that was after the first night. Yes, went back to the hotel, and I believe the first night was the first night just sitting there, and yeah, the first night we sat there and ended up like watching HGTV and critiquing No Demo Reno and her constant use of herringbone, and then
I like her. She's one of my favorite.
We
ones.
like her too. She
She's
just
nice.
uses
She has
herringbone.
She has good energy. I like herringbone.
And then we also did the 2 sisters, who like you can't sell your property,
the unsellable houses,
and kind of sat there and were like how like the one sink just bothers Kat and I, where it was like we did this great herringbone, and then it just like hard stops poorly and it's straight.
Yeah, like on the very next wall where they could have continued the pattern.
Yeah.
They just made it like normal horizontal tile.
And it makes no sense.
I didn't notice it until you pointed it out, because it's only in just like a split frame for that one episode. Like it's a very short, 2 seconds maybe, if even.
Somebody noticed that in the edit, and they were like, "Oh, we can't show that. That'll be poorly received."
Maybe, yeah. Once you pointed it out, we paused. I'm like, oh no, yeah, that's awful. So I'm glad you guys bonded over HGTV.
Then I went back to my my room and promptly fell asleep until the next morning.
His brain was tired.
My brain was tired. Day 2, PAX Unplugged Day 2, because we stayed there for 2 days.
Saturday. Power the crowds.
Okay. So Saturday morning, you pointed out a great bagel place that I went to and we get coffee from and a bagel from because I've worked at hotels and I don't always like to eat hotel food. Went over there to get bagels. Didn't fully like their selection, so then we ended up walking closer. We're like, you know what? The convention place. It's like 9:30 in the morning. We're gonna walk up to where the convention is and try to find food there. That was mistake number one. That is my fault for being a more frequent con goer. You don't go get food next to the convention because
That's where everybody else is.
that's where everyone else is. So we went to a bagels.
Went to another bagel place.
I don't know.
They went somewhere else. The bagels took a long time.
Oh my god, they took forever. And mind you, we were watching Will Call.
The best service that Philly can provide.
And
what's Will Call?
Will Call is like, oh, hey, how do I... Hey, you bought your tickets, but you didn't have them sent to you. You need to go here to pick up your tickets. Or you're buying tickets this day, or you reserve tickets, but you need to pay for them. That is where you would go to...
The separate queue.
Yeah.
Entirely. Okay.
And they weren't opening up any other entrances until like 10:30, 11.
Okay.
And the will call line was wrapping, like snaking up and down the blocks. And the entrance we took the day before, they were like, yeah, you can't use that one. Like, there are people lined up over there. They're like, well, they're not opening it until like 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I was like, yeah, but with this line, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, I might as well go wait in that shorter line. I'll get in at the same time. So what we did is we ended up going to that line. I found a Duck Donuts for those of you in the DC area, or for those of you who are from the Maryland side, Fractured Prune, where they do like fried donuts. I found a fried donut place, went there, grabbed those, and we went and got into the other line, which is where we saw Rat Buddy. There was
You keep saying such strange things.
Yes, there was a giant rat running down the middle of the street.
Oh, like literally
like a literal rat.
I was like,
everyone
is this another game?
No, everyone was like,
cosplaying?
No. A lot of people were cosplayed as their characters from Critical Role or...
Okay, yeah, but you're like Rat Buddy. I'm like,
Yep.
What do I not even know about? Okay,
I told you about the rat.
Dude, yep, you didn't call him Rat Buddy.
Well, there was
so you saw Master Splinter. Got it.
We saw Master Splinter. It was like, it's a mouse. No.
No, it's not. That thing is the size of a raccoon.
He wasn't quite that big. He was a youngin.
Was he? Okay, he was smaller than Ray. Was he bigger than Jamie?
No. He was literally like about yay.
So the New York rat was bigger.
The New York rat that like my mom and I saw was much bigger. He was, but he's like running down the street, the little cars coming.
Rat.
And it's like, hey, get on the road, buddy. Like, it's the middle of the day. You can't be there. People will kill you in this city.
Yeah.
So we watched him.
Yeah, brotherly love can be quite merciless to the quadrupeds.
Watched all the people like
become invested.
Like those of us were invested, and it was the women screaming like, "Yeah, it's a rat!" It's like the curb is taller than the rat, guys. You don't have to worry about it. You'd have to like hop up there.
Okay. But we have to react.
Yeah, we have to react,
All
and
right.
so we ended up going inside.
Did you get in through like the will call?
No,
line?
we did the other line,
Just, like,
and we
fuck
still beat the people that were telling us you have to go to the back of the line. This is. I was like, I'm just gonna get in the other line.
Like, I already have my pass because
yeah, we have the 4-day pass.
like because I have proper planning. Why wouldn't? Okay.
Why wouldn't you buy the?
Well, I was trying to say like, why would you have it mailed to you? I'm like, well, maybe it was like a last minute decision.
There are a ton of things.
Or yeah, I'm just like, would it be possible to like pick up your pass the day before? Like, say you only had the weekend pass, could you go there on Friday to pick up your pass?
Oh yeah, you totally can do stuff like that.
Then why? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a planner. And I was raised by a military father, and my parents are German, so we prioritize and value efficiency. And this, like, I'm just going to wait in line thing, that I would not have done well there. That's what I'm learning.
No, it would have.
What are you looking at instead of interacting with me?
I was looking at the pictures from the convention to make sure I was covering everything.
Okay.
Thank you very
You're welcome.
much.
So you got in after waving to the rat.
So after waving to the rat, and today was a
Busy day.
Today was a very busy day.
It was packed at PAX. PAX.
We split up for the most part in the first part of the day, with the goal of, hey, we're gonna go get lunch
At a
like 11 or
respectable
12.
hour. God damn it. Okay.
And so we got there, and I wandered around because they went to go see. I thought something else, and I can't quite remember what they went to go look at or try.
Tell us in the chat.
They'll let me know. Like,
I know.
it's in there. So I did take them. So I went to go find. There was a coffee place that I found at PAX East last year, known as Many Worlds Tavern, which is fantastic. I'm actually sipping on their coffee right now. This is their great old one. It is their dark roast. There's a little bit of sweetener in there.
Yeah, that is good. It is really good coffee.
And so I picked up 2 bags of that.
Whole bean
Coffee, ground it. They sat there and did pour over there in front of you.
Oh, that's really nice.
So when I was buying
your little romantic heart was just like,
oh, my little romantic heart was.
Like, I missed you guys.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. We're almost over an hour in. I'm doing very well.
Proud of you.
Thank you. The coffee was stellar. The people there were amazing and a delight to deal with.
Were they fantastic?
One might say that. They also have no.
Don't get distracted.
Don't you?
Don't get distracted.
Don't you do that? They also have a cat mascot, and there was a cat there, so they had cat stickers, and I was trying to find, because it was just like a standard gray cat. I think it's the owner's cat, of course, as it would be.
Yeah, as it should be.
And
that's great.
So I was looking. Do you guys have other
stickers.
cats? I didn't get any because they didn't have a tabby that matched Ray. They didn't have a muted calico that matched Nimbus, or that they had no orange
anyone
cat.
that looked like us, like ours.
Yeah, so I ended up not going with their.
But you bought coffee.
I did buy coffee. Coffee is delicious. That's actually not sponsored, guys. I just really like coffee. And
Mr. Play loves a ritual.
I do love me a ritual.
With your pour over.
With my pour over.
That's
so
fancy.
This is my solstice night coffee that I was having to keep me up for the rest of the night, apparently.
Yeah, happy solstice, everyone.
Happy solstice. After that, I did drag Kat and Eli down because Emberwind was there. I brought them up at the PAX East convention recap that we did. They made the approachable version of D&D.
Yeah.
And so they were there. Sadly, they weren't doing a like demo where you could play it. But I was trying to sell it on Kat. Kat has now been sold. If you get sold, so now I have to figure out a way to sell you on it, so that way we can all do
play a D&D light.
Play like a light campaign together. And we also the place that makes the desks and the gaming tables was there, and it was one of those things where I was like, Kat is very good.
Wormwood.
Yes, Kat, who is very good with woodworking, and
was like.
She loves it. And I was like, I didn't think it would be an insult to you, Kat. I would have bought you guys one of these and been like, well, I guess you're hosting us once a month now so we can play board games. So we saw Emberwind, which I'm still very excited about. And for anyone out there, because part of the reason for the channel being made, and I know I've gone over this for Mrs. Play ad nauseum, is to try to connect people and be like, hey, I think this thing is really cool.
And I would like to
share it with you. So one of the things that I recommend doing is if you think of something is really cool, find a way.
Tell a friend.
Well, not
make it approachable. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're okay. Find a way to also make it approachable to somebody else. So, for instance, and we'll get to this when we look into Star Realm and Hero Realm. Shout out to Lucas. They make a deck builder game. I really like deck builder tabletops because I like trading card games. Mrs. Play does not like trading card games, but a deck builder.
Yeah, it doesn't hold my attention.
But a deck building game is something where she's like, oh, I can play
dabble.
this. This is fun.
Dabble.
It doesn't have the barrier of entry and the uber competitiveness that is like Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic.
Yeah, I'm just here to have a good time, you guys.
So, for instance, I got a sci-fi version for myself. That's probably a little bit easier to travel with. But for Mrs. Play, I picked up a fantasy version.
Because I like fantasy.
She likes fantasy a little bit more than sci-fi.
I do.
If you can find something that you like, and
I
you're
like the pretty colors and the pretty creatures.
Yeah. And then you can bring in and be like, oh, hey, let me let me find a version of it that would be suitable to the person I'm trying to appeal to. It's a good way to go about it.
It's just like courteous interaction 101.
Yeah.
So, it bears saying.
It does. So then we played another game called Catastrophe.
It does sound fun.
Which Kat, Eli, and there was another gentleman who sat down with us who might have been deaf and or hard of hearing. It was a great time. You play as... do you remember like Candyland, where it was like the cutouts, you could stand in there? So it had like the burrito cat, and it was a cat like rolled up like in a burrito, and
a burrito.
It literally was a burrito, and a bunch of other like cats that they had to look like that. And you start on the top of a cat tree, and you would draw cards and try to knock everyone else down
off the cat tree.
And then the Grim Reaper would slowly move up to kill the cat. And if you were on the same one as him,
but I have a nine lives. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, actually, so the thing is, you can lose your 9 lives.
Well, all right.
And you get balls of yarn that give you rerolls and things like that.
Look, a distraction.
It also, and they had...
You followed the red dot down 3 spots.
That's actually a card. That's actually a card. Is like, here's a red dot, and then there's like a no, I don't think so, and it's like a cat knocking a glass off a table. It just leans into the cat thing so much.
That's wonderful. That makes me happy.
It was a ton of fun. We had a great time playing it. I think we only did 1 round. They sold at Target, so Catastrophe, guys. One of those I would highly, highly recommend.
I'd play that
as well.
I like the cat puns.
It's one of those things like, kind of like Azul. Probably never gonna be like you and I playing by ourselves. However, friends over, that one would be great. Catastrophe.
That means I have to get better at hosting. Guys, side note, I'll be brief. I worry about hosting. I feel like hosting well is a skill, and I worry that it's not, I think it's not something that I'm good at, and it always makes me nervous when it's like, we're having people over. I'm like, okay, so after we eat, what do we do? What do I do with my hands? Yeah, that's all. That's it in a nutshell. So I have to get better at hosting.
Mario Kart, Mario Party, board games.
But I'm not good at any of those things.
You have a Switch. We have a Switch down here. Practice. Yep. So.
Okay.
Played that one. I went off, and at that point in time, we split up again for a little bit, and I found Star Realm and Hero Realm, which were the games that are gestured to right there. Hero Realm is up top. Star Realm is blocked by Mrs. Play's microphone.
Blocked by your face.
Well, no. So these are deck building games that are 2-person. They are made by Wise Wizard Games, and they are like
travel size.
Real quick, throw them together. They're the exact same game twice. One, like I said, is fantasy because Mrs. Play likes fantasy. One is sci-fi because I like sci-fi.
It's fun, and it took a little bit of learning, and there is a strategy element involved, but I'm enjoying this one. I'm enjoying this one.
You know the Squirtle thing that's going around right now? The Squirtle play?
Yeah.
That is what is on your brain, it feels like, when we play that game. Because I'll be like, okay.
Understand.
I'll be like, okay, let me grab there's a blue over here, and okay, I've got blue and red.
Like the different types have different abilities.
And she'll just be like, I like this one. Oh, this one's gross, but I can get him, so I'm going to buy him anyway.
Well, like I feel like the best strategy is like a little bit of everything. Like instead of tying myself to like, I want all the blue ones because it's deception, and then I can grab these and switch and put them immediately to the top of my pile so I can use them next turn. I want a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and so Mrs. Play
diversity is the key of life.
Yeah, and Mrs. Play's beaten me now each time we've played.
Badly.
But yeah, so
that twitch. You guys couldn't see it, but his eyes twitched.
So, yep. I love you too. So shout out to Lucas for hooking us up, and
it was fun. It's a good game, and you bought a pretty map for it.
I did. I did buy a pretty map for it. We also at that point he was telling us about another game thing called Oink Games, which is another. They do like real quick travel but fun pickup party games.
Okay.
Like they have a game called it was a play on Poltergeist, and I don't remember what the exact name of it was, but it's like you have to like bounce a ball, try to pick up pieces, specific pieces, almost like jacks, like you would back in the day, and then grab
like
it
grandparents' games,
and only do it with one hand.
Yeah, like jacks.
And like they would make, and then you could get bells, so it would all jingle in your hand. And as a party game, like if you were to be like, oh hey, we're all going on a trip, like we go whitewater rafting again or something like that,
We should do that.
it would be fun just to like grab that game.
Kat, can we go whitewater rafting again? Sorry, I am listening. I was like, we should do that since we're not traveling. Like, we're not leaving the country.
And I just got an absolutely. So you guys
Thanks,
can
Kat.
plan that one out. So yeah, it was just like grab that, and it was a really cool thing. They had a whole lovely little setup over there. A lot of fun games that were a lot of fun, like 9 tiles. It was Polter. But they were travel games. They were like $9.
Yeah.
So
really low threshold.
Low threshold, like very simple.
That's great.
Have fun. Things like that. There was another game that I was really excited for, and I'm so sorry for Kat and Eli because they saw my like competitive like game side come out.
That's your toxicity.
Well, I wasn't toxic.
That sounded defensive.
Might have blamed.
I
might have blamed Eli for handing her wife the game.
Well, you don't get to say if you're being toxic or not. It's up to them to be like, yeah, he was being toxic.
Well, let me go ahead and mute the chat real quick.
No truth telling here. It's okay, guys. If you put it in our group thread, I'll see it. I'll tell everyone. I'll tell them the truth.
There was a
blink twice if it was toxic.
There was a game called Seasons of Arcadia, which was a play on like reversey shogo Chinese checkers.
This is a blink emoji.
Blink, blink.
That makes me so happy.
But there was a
love you guys.
So you would play, and the way it worked is like fall could only jump over and take over winter's pieces. Winter could only do it to spring. Spring could only do it to summer. Summer could only do it to fall.
Yeah.
So you couldn't just like jump all the way around. And the whole point of it was like to get all of your pieces on the board. If you play the game defensively, whoever goes first wins. And there was a point there where Eli kept putting things down, and I couldn't jump over Kat's pieces. And then the guy across the way, we didn't know, so we're like trying to.
I'm not gonna fuck you over. I don't know you.
Yeah, the second game turn, because Eli's like, all I heard is you can't jump me if I'm by her. And it was just like, but you're.
I understand the logic. Yeah, I would have followed him.
It was like, but she's going to win, and
that doesn't matter. She's my wife.
If she wins, I win. Happy wife, happy life.
Like, and I support her. It's a sound strategy.
It is
flawless. I see nothing wrong here, except for you and your attitude, sir.
So yep, that one. We played that. That was a lot of fun. The second day is also where I ended up wandering around to go look at a lot of the minifigurines. So
how much money did you almost spend
on minifigures?
Yeah.
So
like what made your heart go aflutter?
I was gonna get like an assault team or a fire team, I think is what it's called, for Grey Knights, or they have Grey Knights, generic Space Marines, but I really like the Raven Guard, and the Grey Knights have been like my favorite to read about, because the Raven Guard are supposed to be like stealthy boys that use silencers. And I'm like, oh hey, Sam Fisher, like yep,
and a Raven, so
yeah, and the I want to say Primaris, but that is not correct. And oh my god, I am. This is bottom.
Well, pause for brief.
Yeah,
he's got to look it up, otherwise his brain will not be able to move forward.
Space Marine. Primarch. God.
I was not going to guess that.
That's fine.
I'm glad you looked it up.
The Primarch of them is like when he leaves, because all the Primarchs are like demigods, and they all have to leave because plot. He goes nevermore and then goes into the void, and it's really bad. And
no, I like it.
Yeah, so it's
a little bit corny.
It's very like, you know. Yeah, so we did that.
What's your safe word?
So I walked around, met some guys that
That'd
did
be a fun safe word.
Nevermore.
Sorry, go on.
People learn a lot about us tonight.
They don't.
Well, now we need a safe word.
Apparently, I'm just saying like that'd be a funny one.
So
funny. Sorry. I'm tired.
I can tell. So I walked around and saw that. Like one guy I saw did a bunch of Imperial Guard. So this is just gonna be me geeking out for the 40k fan base out there, where he did them. His entire paint scheme was done for like Battle of the Bulge from World War II. So they like he would go to like a model train store too and buy like pine trees and give them like pine ghillie suits for some of them, and some of them would look a little bit more tad. And
that's a level of dedication I don't have, but props.
The paintings, props. And I will put those through here so that way you guys can see them because they were absolutely really good.
Yeah, it's art.
And they were all really nice because they were like, oh, what got you into 40k? And I'd be like, well, I'm more into the lore. I played Dawn of War as a kid.
Congrats on not saying Henry Cavill.
Oh God, no.
An entire generation. Go on.
No, that's how like you and then Kat and Eli would be like, so can you tell me about this Warhammer? No. Especially like The Witcher, and I told you and got.
I like The Witcher, yeah.
That's how this is how everyone's gonna get into Warhammer, and people are gonna be talking about it at work because Henry Cavill did it.
Okay, go on. Henry Cavill made it cool.
Yeah. Nerd. Anyway, so we went around, looked at their stuff, watched a couple matches because those can be like 45-minute matches. Before we went back, did another thing of free play. There was a Sherlock Holmes game we were gonna play.
But then, alas,
the setup for that game would have been at least 2 hours by itself.
Damn.
Because you play as like one of his eyes near the city is one of the homeless population.
Okay.
And you're trying to solve the Jack the Ripper murder.
That's cool.
But it's like, no, read this newspaper. Read these letters. Hold it up to the light. Figure it like it is. Yeah.
Like real detective shit.
It is actual detective stuff.
I'm sorry, I don't have the attention span for that.
We didn't have it either. And I was like, we cannot.
At the end of the day.
So we went back and played Crock and Hole a little bit more. Had a great time with that one. And absolutely adored playing that. And then, because Kat and Eli also picked up a game, they picked up a game called Unstable Unicorns.
Oh, yeah, you sent me a couple pictures of that one.
Which is a deck building game that we played in the room.
In the room. Hotel room?
Hotel room. Okay. Maybe under the influence.
So it's particularly funny.
Because, so, for those of you who don't know, Unstable Unicorn is a deck building game where you want to get the most unicorns in your stable. And it's...
I bet you do.
And it's like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, there's the Cucklecorn.
Oh.
There's the Bucacorn. There is the Bear and Twinkcorn. And it's like, oh, do you have the Bearcorn? Search the deck and get the Twinkcorn. Do you have the Twinkcorn? Search the deck and get the Bearcorn. And then we're sitting there the entire time when one of us has one of them.
It's like making the hair on my arm stand.
Oh, it is.
Like right now, I mean, you guys can't see it, but I'm like, ooh.
One of the denial cards to be like, you can't do that, right?
Okay, yeah.
Are nay. And then it's nay means nay. I think the final one was like, I said nay means nay, bitch. And that's how you know
progression.
Like, when you do it. So we had a fantastic time.
Yeah, consent matters.
And like towards the end of it, 'cause it's like you start off with a baby unicorn, and it's like, oh, this is the ugly baby. This is the
you got dropped on your head, baby.
The pageant baby. This is definitely not my baby
unicorn. Like you're gonna have an eating disorder unicorn. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was like the 420 corn. Okay. There were a couple like in there that were like okay, but they were like generic.
Sure.
There was the like. It was like the white trash unicorn or the white girl wasted unicorn.
Oh, darling.
And they have like little things on the bottom of them.
Did she say woo instead of nay? She should have.
I don't remember what it says on the bottom of hers, but it was.
Regret. My parents aren't gonna be proud of me.
There is one that says that.
Damn.
Yeah. Damn. They have a lot of really good ones.
Okay.
The easiest way to describe it, guys, it's a deck building game, with unicorn puns based off of like.
Shitty thing people say.
No, I was gonna go. What's that really famous one that everyone got into?
Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah,
it was giving that energy.
But the unicorn puns are like, because like towards the end it became like, explode. Oh, the people who made Exploding Kittens made it. But then there was like unicorn butt plug, and so we're just giving like we're constantly passing around the unicorn butt plug.
Ew! Did you wash it first? You guys are disgusting. Disgusting. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, you're fine. So, but that's like that became the thing, and then it was like Eli's like, nope, I don't like it. So then we're just constantly giving it to
Nay.
Eli.
I said nay.
And then like towards the end of it, it was one of those things like, no, we're just gonna go through and read what all the different cards are because they were fantastic. They were stellar. They were really good, really well done, descriptive cards. Thank you so much. I'll put a counter up there if you'd like when I make the video.
That would be amazing. Check.
So
It'll be on the back of your laptop.
carving those in.
I'm not gonna carve it. I was imagining like a post-it there, and I would just be there with a pen.
Yes, and so that was how we ended that night.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, after that, I also picked up the Stardew Valley board game because I constantly am trying to get Mrs. Play into. God, this is heavy. Stardew Valley,
Yeah.
and they make a fantastic board game, and it's a co-op game. This.
Oh yeah, that's a lot heavier than I thought it would be.
Yep. So it's
Yeah, that's hefty.
It takes a bit of setup here. Haven't had a chance to play it yet, but it is one of those games I'm looking.
We need friends to come back over.
I can play it 2-player.
Oh, okay.
It's co-op.
Okay.
Yep. I just gotta learn it.
Right. Read the rules this time.
Yes, dear. I will read the rules.
Okay, thank you. Because I won't.
So
I'm
yeah,
making up my own rules. Did you feel like 2 days was enough?
for this con, I would say 2 days probably was enough. If we had, I need to like figure out what I can do to get us into, like part of the thing that I eventually want to do is get us into press core of it, where hey we create stuff, like we have a number of people watching, so we can make a little bit here and there.
You should talk to me. I'm interesting. There are reasons for you to want to hang out with me.
So yeah, that would have been a really, really cool way to go about that. And
would you recommend the panels?
We didn't make it to a single panel.
Okay.
Because
you guys were there for the games.
We were there. We played a lot of the games.
Okay.
I would say panels. If you guys have never been to a PAX, they do have some pretty good panels. They are some of the best ones that I've been to. As far as that, but yeah, after that, the next day we ended up packing up a little bit early, caught the train back after it got delayed like twice.
I know. It's the United States transportation system.
Then we were pretty. It was pretty busy up until the end. Like we didn't get to sit next to each other on the way back. So it was a bit of a drive on the way back
south,
home. But yeah, didn't have to like cram everything into 2 suitcases and barely have enough to get it on the
on the trip back home.
On the trip back home. But yeah, so that was PAX Unplugged. So that covers pretty much all of it.
Would you go again?
I would. I would. Would you not get sick?
I will do my best.
Okay, maybe
I'll get the flu shot. It won't protect me against the sinus infection, but I'll take a multivitamin.
Maybe we'll look at that again next year.
Get sick.
We'll see where we're at. But yeah, had a great time. Kat and Eli said they had a great time as well, and both of them have very good nuanced opinions for what they like in games. So it was nice for someone like me who's like, no, hardcore strategy.
Sorry, go ahead.
I like trading card games. I like having to build games like that. And Eli's like, I want more randomness where I can kind of have fun with it.
Right.
And then Kat can do a nice blend of both.
Yeah, Kat has strategy, and Eli and her are just like, dopamine. He's here for the dopamine. Yep. So you would recommend going with friends?
Oh God,
that way you can like hop in and hop out of games, but like establish your territory.
A lot of the games like had 4-player spots, so having 3 of us, it would be like the 3 of us and the person teaching you.
Yeah. Okay.
So that made it really
nice.
approachable.
All right. That's great.
Thank you so much, Robbie, for dropping by. We're actually at the tail end of the podcast, but I do greatly appreciate you. Yep. So there was that one, and now I got some announcements.
Tell us.
So
what
first,
news?
This is going to be the last video on the channel for the year.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to be doing. We are not going to be doing anything next week. I'm going to take that week off to get Mrs. Play to record some stuff. We've got to get stuff rolling for the next year.
Next week's Christmas.
Next week's Christmas.
And
New Year's.
And
Christmas and New Year's.
What's in between Christmas and New Year's?
Days. So we're gonna take some time off to just enjoy company and have some friends over, do things like that. Maybe play some board games. That being said, there will be another podcast, maybe really close to the first of the year. Mark and I are going to be recording finally our next One Piece episode, so you guys can stay tuned to hear that. And then the other big news is I will be at MagFest. So if you are excited to go see some nerdcore concerts up in the Baltimore Inner Harbor area, I will be there. Annapolis Inner Harbor.
DC.
It's Gaylord.
DC.
Annapolis.
DC.
Okay. It's
Look, they're very different cities.
everyone
And the
always says it's
traffic-
close to Baltimore. So I will be up there, and then Mrs. Play and I, thank you so much for the gifted subs. I really appreciate it. Everybody, so we will be there, and then Mrs. Play and I will be making our triumphant return to PAX East this year. We already have our tickets, so we will be up. And...
National Harbor in DC.
Okay, National Harbor.
Okay, thank you.
Someone made a
We're
comment.
going to PAX East.
We're going to PAX East up in Boston in March. Got our tickets for that. We are going to be catching the train.
It'll be my second PAX East and our first time taking the train up there.
Yeah, so hopefully we can do the PAX car. Get Mrs. Play up for some indie games. See if there's any that she's looking forward to, since she now has a Switch and can play those games. But yeah, so that's gonna be it. Look for me, MagFest. We will be at PAX East. And yeah, it's going to be a fantastic time.
2024.
Yeah, I said it again. It's 5. All right. And Miss, anything else for you, Mrs. Play?
No, I'm really looking forward to PAX. It'll be my second time going. Looking forward to the train. I'm glad that you, Kat, and Eli had a fantastic time at PAX Unplugged. I'm sorry that I missed it. I'm glad that I didn't.
Yeah,
bring
I'm glad
the
that you.
sickness with me.
I'm so glad that you
like
weren't.
I was not fit to be around people.
Massive sinus infection breaks out.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't need to be patient zero. But I'm glad you guys had a great time.
Me too.
And you brought back games. Thank you for teaching me the games. I lived vicariously through you guys, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So sitting here going on all that. I do want to, of course, let you guys know if you guys do enjoy this, please go ahead, check out our YouTube channel where you can catch this live. So if you want to watch this again, want to see the videos and all of the art and things that we've posted, of course, you can hit that follow or subscribe button here to go ahead and catch us more live. I'll probably be back in a couple hours to do a bit of a solstice night stream. I don't know what it'll entail, but it will be there. As always, make sure to take care of your friends here and your friends elsewhere. You're all winners. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and keep it weird, everybody.
Happy solstice, everyone. Love you guys.